Hey guys, this is Mr. A. Crizzy here, and welcome to today's special 20th anniversary video. Yep, that is right. This is going to be on a very special 20th anniversary video to one of my favorite animated films growing up, and also one of my all-time favorite Pixar films. And you can already see I have the two Disney Infinity figures of Mike and Sully, and these two guys, these two monsters, you guessed it. These two characters are Mike and Sully are from the popular Pixar film, and also considered to be one of Pixar's best films that they ever made. And today's officially the 20th anniversary of Pixar's fourth animated feature after Toy Story 2, Monsters, Inc. Yep, that's right. Today's officially the 20th anniversary of Monsters, Inc. Yeah, as they say in the movie that the company's name is called Monsters Incorporated. But for the movie's title, we call it Monsters, Inc. Yeah. So, Monsters, Inc. is about these two monsters, of course, named Mike and Sully. They both work for this company called Monsters Incorporated, which is a factory where monsters go into children's rooms and collect scream. But then one evening, so Sully comes across this door with this white door with flowers on it. And then Sully comes across this little girl named Boo, and so he is freaked out by this, and of course Mike and Sully both team up, and they both have to put her back in her door. Yeah. So that's the story of Monsters, Inc. So, like I said before, Monsters, Inc. is one of my all-time favorite Pixar films. I also love this movie when I was a kid too. Yeah. And of course I had this DVD for a long time, ever since I was little. And yeah. It's got very great computer animation at the time. It's got great computer animation. And it also has very talented and very hilarious voice acting too. Like Billy Crystal and John Goodman playing Mike and Sully. They both did a very great job. They both did a very fantastic job playing Mike and Sully in this movie. And this movie even got a prequel as well, Monsters University. And I think Monsters University is a good movie. And recently this year, there's also a TV show based on Monsters, Inc. called Monsters at Work. I watched the whole season 1 on Disney Plus this year, and it's a good show. I kind of liked it. I will say, I think the first movie itself, Monsters, Inc., I think is the best one out of all of them. Yeah. Because, everything about this movie is hilarious, especially when it comes to those internet memes, and Billy Crystal is very hilarious playing Mike Wazowski, and John Goodman is Sully. And this movie also stars Jennifer Tilly as Celia, and there's also James Coburn as Mr. Waternews. Also, Steve Buscemi plays Randall. And, and of course, Mr. Waternews and Randall, two of Pixar's best villains. And Steve Buscemi did a great job playing Randall, and James Coburn as Mr. Waternews. Yeah, even like Mr. Waternews' confession, like when he reveals his true colors, like not like the part where we get to like John Ratzenberger's Yeti, abominable adorable snowman part. It's like way after that. It was like when Mr. Waternews confessed the truth behind him, and that his confession was actually caught on camera. Yeah. The same thing happened with other twist villains from Pixar, and one from Disney as well. Same thing happened to Ernesto de la Cruz in the 2017 Pixar film Coco, and the similar thing happened in the Disney film Zootopia, when Bellwether's confession was actually caught on recording. And of course, Monsters, Inc. I think it's also a very fun movie to quote as well. It's got very hilarious quotes from like Mike Wazowski. And of course, Mike Wazowski yell and scream like, "Yeah!" Yeah, this movie's very hilarious. It's got very hilarious screams. Ah! Yeah. Oh yeah, and speaking of screams, I also have this little cup, this little soda. Well, it's actually more like a drink cup, where I actually got this for my 22nd birthday back in August. And you might have seen this in one of my videos, in my birthday presents videos. Yeah, this was actually the scream canister, which is like just like a drink, of course, but it also represents the scream canister as well. Yeah, and when you open it up, it makes this scream sound. Yep. And like I said, it kind of sounds like Dot from A Bug's Life, but it also kind of sounds like Carol Ann from Poltergeist as well. Yeah. Yeah, I thought this bad boy, like, this bad boy type of thing, like, I thought this thing was very cool to collect. It's also like a collector's item too. Yeah. Especially like Gary Rydstrom's sound design in Monsters Inc. Gary Rydstrom, who previously worked on the sound effects for Toy Story: A Bug's Life and Toy Story 2. Gary Rydstrom's sound design for Monsters Inc. is well done too. Yeah. And of course the DVD I have for Monsters Inc. I also used to have this on VHS as well. It's also pretty cool how the VHS cassette tape of Monsters Inc. is the color blue. Yeah. And of course, both the DVD and VHS version of Monsters Inc. both have the same THX trailer, Text 2 Moo Can. Yeah. And let's see. Oh yeah, the only difference between this DVD and the VHS version of Monsters Inc. is because one preview was actually different. The Lilo and Stitch trailer was actually different from both DVD and VHS versions of Monsters Inc. On the DVD version of Monsters Inc., the Lilo and Stitch trailer was actually Stitch ruining Beauty and the Beast, while on the VHS version of Monsters Inc., like, Stitch actually ruins Aladdin. There's a difference. But still, both versions still have the same previews other besides that, and still the same THX trailer, Text 2 Moo Can. Yeah. Text 2 Moo Can, Gary Rydstrom's sound design for text, and the sound of cows mooing the deep note. Here are the discs for Monsters Inc. containing disc 1 and disc 2. Oh yeah, I think. Oh yeah, because I also realized that Monsters Inc. was also one of the 4 Pixar films that also contained a sound effects only version where you can only hear the sound effects, no dialogue, and no music either. Toy Story: A Bug's Life and Toy Story 2 had similar versions of that, just sound effects only. Yeah, even the scream sounds, they do count as well. Oh yeah, and as for the other voice actors, like the voice actress Mary Gibbs, she does a great job playing Boo in this film. Oh yeah, and of course there's also this one, and there's also one quote we all remember the most: 2319, we have a 2319. Yeah, and then, yeah, 2319. Yeah, we remember that quote. Yeah, because everything about Monsters Inc. is great. It's one of Pixar's best films. It's also very heartwarming too. Like, it's got some heartwarming moments between, like, Sully and Boo together, and Randy Newman's music score. Randy Newman's music score is definitely well done too. It also can be very emotional too, like, like this background music, like, sometimes it gets very sad too, and like, sad and emotional at the same time, because Randy Newman's music score, it's like, it's sad and emotional at the same time, because it's actually this one called Sully Scares Boo, like when Sully felt guilty for himself, he felt bad for himself scaring Boo, even though he meant to scare the boy simulator. Yeah. Yeah, and John Ratzenberger was great as the Yeti, of course. Welcome to the Himalayas. Yeah, I bet a lot of people really love quoting Monsters Inc. and I love quoting it as well. There's also other animated films I love quoting as well, like A Bug's Life and Over the Hedge, Toy Story. And Pete Docter actually directed Monsters Inc. and this was actually his first Pixar film that he directed. He was nominated for an Oscar for Best Animated Feature 2001, but this movie actually lost to Shrek. Yeah, and then what's also pretty interesting about Monsters Inc. Another interesting thing about Monsters Inc. is that this was actually one of the movies that changed 9/11. Like, that, yeah, because it's like how the 9/11 attacks actually changed Monsters Inc. because in the original version of Monsters Inc. where Sully and Mike were escaping the Harryhausen's restaurant, like the original version, the CDA, like the CDA actually blew up the Harryhausen's restaurant in original versions of the movie, but in the finished version of the film, it's actually replaced the Pixar decided to have the Harryhausen's restaurant quarantined under a force field bubble instead, like force field. Because Pixar probably did that to pay respects to the victims to the victims and the families who lost their lives on that day on 9/11. And yeah, so yeah, and even I also remember I also remember playing Disc 2 a lot when I was little. Disc 2 of Monsters Inc. I remember playing a lot about Disc 2. Like it also includes like a little a Boo's door game where you have to find the pieces to fit Boo's door. And there was also oh yeah, there's also like a little behind the scenes of If I Didn't Have You, like the theme song to Monsters Inc. If I Didn't Have You by John Goodman and Billy Crystal. Oh yeah, it also won the Oscar for Best Original Song, a 2001 Academy Award winner for Best Original Song. Yeah, that's great. And Monsters Inc. was also the last Pixar film to feature bloopers and outtakes. Yeah, the bloopers and outtakes are very hilarious. My favorite Monsters Inc. outtake is definitely when Sully accidentally slips on the floor, like when Mike and Sully were entering the scare floor, but then Sully accidentally slips. Yeah, because this movie just cracks me up. And the outtakes do crack me up as well. And then after the bloopers and outtakes, you get this like company play called like the company play that Mike was making up until it turned out to be real. Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me. Yeah, yeah. Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me. And like I said, Monsters Inc. was also the last Pixar film to feature bloopers and outtakes. But this is also one of the other Pixar films where when it first came out, there was like no bloopers and outtakes that played during the closing credits, because the original version of Monsters Inc. when it first came out on November 2nd of 2001, like yeah, because when this movie first came out in theaters, there were no bloopers and outtakes, but when more moviegoers went and saw it, sorry about that, my battery's almost dying, but yeah. So as I was saying, like when more moviegoers go out and see Monsters Inc., like Pixar actually added bloopers and outtakes into the closing credits when more moviegoers started to go see it. Because the other Pixar film that did the same thing, where the original version had no bloopers and outtakes at all, was Toy Story 2. Yeah, because when Toy Story 2 first came out, there were no bloopers and outtakes until moviegoers went and saw it, starting Christmas Day of 1999, which was also my first Christmas ever. It's also kind of a shame that Pixar had to take out the Stinky Pete and Barbie blooper, because in response to that Me Too movement, hashtag, Me Too movement, the origin of cancel culture. Yeah, screw that. Or scratch that. And of course, A Bug's Life was actually the first Pixar film to feature bloopers and outtakes, but it's also the only Pixar film where there's actually no original version, where there's no bloopers and outtakes at all, because all versions of A Bug's Life have bloopers and outtakes, and you're not going to be able to find one without bloopers and outtakes unless someone makes one of their own. But yeah, that's it. That's all. Oh yeah, and even Joel Siegel Good Morning America says on the DVD cover that it's like an instant classic. Yep, from the creators of Toy Story, my all-time favorite film. And the movie's rated G for general audiences, all ages admitted, bonus material not rated. And the feature running time is approximately 93 minutes. Color and digitally mastered. Yep, THX certified. And the short films also include, like, it includes like a sneak peek of Finding Nemo, which was their next film. And the short films included were For the Birds, the For the Birds, which is the short film released in front of Monsters Inc. And of course you get the short film Mike's New Car. Yeah, and I love Mike's New Car as well. Yep. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all there is to say about Monsters Inc. So yeah, happy 20th anniversary to Monsters Inc. Yep. And Monsters University is a good film from 2013, which is a prequel. And I also enjoyed Monsters at Work as well. Yep. So like I said, happy 20th anniversary to Monsters Inc. And there you go. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for this video. So make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. And as always, thanks for watching. And until next time. Alright. Yeah, I was just doing that for fun. Yeah, just to be funny. So, anyway, until next time, this is Mr. A. Crizzy saying goodbye, everybody, and that's about it.